From the Digital Media Studios in Longview, Washington, it's The Ken Taylor Show. And welcome to The Ken Taylor Show. Glad you're back. Today in the studio, I've got with me a good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, probably roughly 22 years. I've got Matthew Miller.
Good afternoon, Ken.
Good afternoon, Matt. How's it been going?
It's great. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Happy to have you here.
Yeah.
And we're going to do something a little different on the show today. We're going to just have a real casual conversation. Introduce everybody to Matt. He's got a background in radio. How many years, Matt?
I put in about 5 years in radio, in a local station, did a little public access radio and some mobile disc jockey work.
And public access radio, there's a couple of times Matt and I got to get together on that.
Oh, yeah.
And those were good times.
KMUN, Astoria, 91.9.
That's right. So Matt also has a very extensive background with Microsoft and, of course, the Microsoft products and the platforms that we're all familiar with and use every day.
That's right.
And hope to talk to Matt a little bit about that today as well. All right, Matt, so let's jump into discussion on disaster readiness and just get your thoughts and your opinions on, what are we going to do? We have the situation that's going on right now in Japan. Mm-hmm. Terrible situation. A lot of suffering over there. A lot of disaster.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Is it something that we're ready for over here?
Yeah, these kind of events catch people completely off guard. You cannot really prepare for it, but being prepared in advance for what could happen and knowing what to do in the event of a disaster is a good thing. Of course, a disaster like an earthquake or as we both grew up in the local area with the Mount St. Helens eruption completely took everyone by surprise. We had a little warning with Mount St. Helens, but the magnitude of what took place there was there was just no way to know. And the impact was significant, loss of life, property. So
I'm sure you remember the days of having to prepare for the fact that the mountain could potentially erupt, and of course, as we all know, it did.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, our family was, we lived in an area which was under continual threat even after the eruption because of the potential dam that had built up that could have broken at Spirit Lake, could have sent water down into our region and destroyed more homes and lives. And so
I think we have video of some of that in your family that we'll show. What did your family do to prepare for that?
Well, luckily, my siblings and I were out of town when the event happened, which was coincidental. But my parents were in their home in the area. They did their best to prepare the home. I think they had blockaded the doors and windows. But really, with that type of an event, there's not much you can do. If the magnitude of the destruction is going to take your home, there's no way to prepare other than to take your possessions. And so they left the area. They waited till the all clear was sounded, and they went back in to see how it was. And my parents were the type of people that wanted to be really aware. So they stayed at the home as much as they could, even against warnings, to maybe a little more cautious and stay away. But they said, no, we'll be here as long as we can. And so we just stayed very prepared. We had bags packed. We listened to the radio on a continual basis, and we're prepared for any further destruction to come. And luckily it didn't, and we lived through it. So
moving into situation of today, we have the situation in Japan. We had a terrible, I believe they've upgraded it to a 9.0 magnitude earthquake,
so.
And then the following tsunami, and then of course the disaster at the nuclear power plants there.
That's right. That's completely, and the nuclear disaster that has resulted from that, who would have predicted that? And that is just almost its own unique challenge, aside from the loss of the villages and the lives and the monetary cost of rebuilding. It's very amazing.
I think that a situation like that really is an eye opener for a lot of us here. And as far as looking at our own situations, our own homes, our own family situations, and are we really prepared? And what does that mean to be prepared?
I think that if I think about my own family, I don't think we have done quite the job of that we should have of preparing our children for what would happen in the event of a disaster. Where do you go? What's our plan for exiting the home? What's our plan for exiting the city? Where would we go? Where would we meet if we were separated somehow? What would happen if communication lines were down? So there's definitely a lot that could be done just to have basic preparedness, awareness with the family members. Where should we go? What is our plan? Let's say we have no warning. earthquake. It could be Mount Rainier, for example, in the area I'm from. There's always a concern about Mount Rainier in the future, and we should really have a plan for that. I know there's guidelines and there's resources available for people to form plans, and that definitely should be something that everyone should look into.
You know, they say the first 72 hours is the most critical time. That's the first 72 hours you can, for the most part, count on there not being emergency resources available. It takes time to put these things together, especially after a large disaster.
Yeah.
The government and the emergency services have to mobilize, and they say, you know, you should be prepared for at least 72 hours of being on your own. And that being the case, what have you done, or what types of things do you think would be beneficial for the listeners out there to be prepared for that first 3 days?
I think that we've done some of this in the past. We've had water in storage, for example. Assuming that in the event of a natural disaster, if we could stay in our home, let's be prepared for lack of communication. Let's be prepared for a lack of the ability to leave the area. Let's be able to stay in our home for extended period of days and be self-sufficient without power. So we have some food storage that's a long-term storage. We bought some food resources at Costco that was prepared for those kind of events. And there's all kinds of kits out there for water treatment and propane fuel, for example, where you're not reliant on electricity, and just having basic supplies like that are not expensive. They're not hard to locate or store. That would be great for, I think, any family to have, just in case they were without resources, without government, there was... the police were not able to come in and assist, and we're just really all stuck at our homes for an extended period of time. I think that's a wise thing to do.
I do too.
Yeah.
You ready to talk about something a little lighter?
Yeah, sure. What you got on
How about
board?
some movies, music?
Movies. I'm a
entertainment.
Big movie fan.
We love
big music
entertainment.
fan. That's right. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that.
Well, let's talk about what's happened this year. What's been out in the theaters this year? Again, you and I are both big movie fans, have been for many years, and I make a pretty regular habit of going to see movies. When I typically go to the theater, my choice is to go to see the large blockbuster films. I go to the theater to have that big screen impact. I try to go to the good theaters and see things at the digital projectors and really get my money's worth.
Everybody needs to understand that Matt lives in an area where they actually have good movie theaters.
Yes, that's right. I'm very fortunate and thankful, and because of that, I think that's also helped me to become more of a movie fan and go more often to see things at the theater, and I really, really do enjoy it. Almost weekly going to the theaters, and anything good that comes out that is an excellent big screen experience, I'm willing to go see it 2 or 3 times or more.
What was the last movie that you went to?
Last movie was this week. Went to see Battle LA for the second time with my brother, which was a fantastic military action film. So
you're kind of an action film kind of guy.
Well, I enjoy a lot of different kind of movies. I enjoy dramas and comedies, but really, again, with my movie theater...
See, I kind of put you as more of a romance kind of...
I like all kinds of movies. Movies are fantastic. I like movies that have an emotional impact. It's the same thing with music. If it has an emotional impact, I really can enjoy it. If it doesn't affect me, then I don't really... it's not the topic that's going to do it. It's really, does it stick with me? Do I think about it after I go to see it? Does it make me dwell on it in the week after I've seen the movie?
So what are you seeing, just out of curiosity, what are you seeing the industry driving to in terms of movie and music? I guess what I'm asking is, you're starting to see more and more of it available in the home. And as far as the technologies or emerging technologies that are out there for, getting some of these big screen experiences or just getting the content or the media into the home more easily. You've spent some time, obviously, in that industry. What do you see emerging on the market, or how do you see the home entertainment, the whole thing changing?
I think that movie theaters are going to be one of the last holdouts of traditional legacy media, being the slowest to adapt to all digital delivery. I think that we've seen magazines, we've seen newspapers, we're seeing books and music all converted over to digital delivery, digital formats. But I think that the movie-going experience is such an immersive experience that I think that'll stick with us for a while. I mean, when I pay that money to go to the theater...
Do you think that's because of the larger-than-life big screen experience that you just can't get at home?
I think so. I think that with typical print media and music, I think really it's more about the content. listening to albums, maybe there's some contextual things about, well, I wanted to sit at home with my albums in the past and really hold those record jackets and enjoy the artwork and read the lyrics and things. But really, I think it's a lot more about the content. With movie going, again, that big screen experience is something you just really can't replicate well at home. No matter how large of a projector you got, I mean, most people cannot replicate that at home. And so they're willing to pay a little bit more to go to the theater and have that big screen experience. I'm absolutely willing to pay it. It's fantastic. So I think that we do see more video delivery for digital devices. Everything is moving towards streaming, which is very convenient, but it is not the same experience. So again, I believe that we will continue to see movie theaters open and active, but we will have more.
Personally, I've become a really big fan of the Netflix experience through my Xbox 360 console.
Yeah,
I have one of those on each television now, and it's been fantastic to be able to just go to a web-based service like that and find just about anything that you want to watch, and it's right there, without needing to go to the store or to order a DVD.
Well, and you've seen the shift also with Netflix. In years previous, their service was balanced more on the side of DVD delivery. And the streaming was sort of a supplemental option. But as more and more people have internet-connected devices and tablets and devices that can stream at high speeds, the shift has now gone towards streaming. And the DVD is sort of the add-on service. And then I would in fact expect that to vanish in the next few years. We've seen most types of physical media diminish, if not vanish, in the last 10 years.
Do you see us getting to a point where the traditional DVD or especially CD is just no longer available? That you no longer go to the music store or video store and actually buy a disc?
I think there will probably always be a niche market for it. I mean, you can still see that with vinyl today with albums. Vinyl had all but disappeared from stores, but you could go to used stores. But in the last several years, you've seen a resurgence, though, of audiophiles who want to have a vinyl experience, who want that vinyl audio quality. There will always be a little bit of a niche. There's always going to be books. I don't think bookstores will vanish entirely. There's always going to be CDs and probably always DVDs, especially. But the thing I think is a great, the impact of this whole digital revolution on the media, I think it's fantastic that publishers are now putting much more effort into the packaging and the product itself. It isn't just a jewel case with a cover and a disc and that's it, no extras. I think you see a lot more box sets. You see a lot more rich production on the packaging, including extra materials that you don't get at the theater, that you wouldn't get through Netflix. I think that's fantastic. I was just reading something the other day about how tablet devices, for example, could save the concept of a music album. So, for example, there's been a lot of talk with larger artists who've made the jump to internet, publishing of their own music and self-distribution, of just dumping the concept of the album. I think that the concept of the music album came about because it was cost ineffective to publish songs one at a time. Let's get about 10 of them together. We have the technology to produce a vinyl album that can hold about an hour's worth of music. Let's fill it up and we'll sell it. A lot of it's filler, some of it's good, right? But now with the ability to publish any amount of music you want online, why not do it one at a time?
You can do it one at a time, sure.
Right. Well, I think that the idea of the tablet, if you were able to buy an album, the tablet is sort of an experience. It's a very personal computing experience where you can have artwork and you can have lyrics and you can have some interactivity. And that's something that if you could deliver that along with an album, that could really be interesting. It could bring back that feel of buying a vinyl album at the store, taking the wrapping off, pulling the sleeve out, really checking out the good production on the materials. And I think that's a good idea. I mean, I think with iPods and portable music players, not so much. You can't really interact with a device that small, but really with a tablet, which is more of a handheld computing kind of experience, I think that we could see a resurgence there. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to take advantage of the mobile devices and these portable devices with movies and music.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Matt Miller today. Appreciate it, Matt. Appreciate your time coming into the studio.
Sure. Thank
you. Good
to
to see you again.
Good to see you.
And
good to be here.
We'll see everybody next time.